أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض، وإن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوه يحاسبكم به الله، فيغفر لمن يشاء وكل شيء قدير. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. وقالوا ربنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها، لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا. واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين صدق الله العظيم. صدق الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. First of all, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Hussain, for this beautiful recitation. Brothers and sisters, this program meant to address all Muslims in the capital district. Indeed, we are going as everybody else, all nations, all people are going through crisis. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to uplift it as soon as possible. But indeed, there is a need for Muslims to communicate with their leaders, especially spiritual leaders. And this is why the imams of the capital district saw the need of having such communication and to provide guidance and to provide nasaih, tawjihat, guidelines in these particular situations that we are going through. So we are having today, inshallah, this panel with these shuyukh, inshallah, and also with one of our doctors in the community. As you know, brothers and sisters, the Islam is very comprehensive religion. This deen that teaches us ibadat, teaches us even the way how we use bathroom, teaches us divorce and marriage matters, teaches us business matters. No doubt that there is something in our religion we have to learn, we have to consider regarding what we are going through these days and time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, مَا فَرَّطْنَا فِي الْكِتَابِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Indeed, there is nothing is being left or ignored in this holy book, the Quran al-Kareem. So the Quran al-Kareem is a solution for every problem. And this big problem that we are facing, indeed, there is something we can learn through our religion and through our Quran al-Kareem, inshallah. So we are having today, inshallah, Sheikh Ja'far. Sheikh Ja'far, please join us. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Hussain. So we are having Imam Sheikh Abdul Rahman Yaqi, the Imam of ICCD. We are having Sheikh Ja'far with us, the Imam of the Hidayah Center. We are having Dr. Hassan Shua, board member of Masjid Salam, and he's representing Masjid Salam. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Ilmi is not with us, is not able to be with us tonight, inshallah ta'ala. So brothers and sisters, I'm just giving you briefly how this program would be. So every one of our respected speakers, inshallah, will have 10 minutes. And then we will be receiving your questions, and we'll be having, inshallah, the second half an hour, we'll be having Q&A sessions. So I will be receiving your questions, and then, inshallah, I will be asking our dear and respected shuyukh, inshallah, as well as Dr. Hassan Shua, inshallah. So I will start with Dr. Hassan Shua, inshallah. Then we'll be having Sheikh Imam Ja'far Sabkhawi, and then Sheikh Abdul Rahman Yaqi, inshallah ta'ala. Tfaddal, Dr. Hassan.
بسم الله والصلاة على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Clearly, we have been experiencing, subhanAllah, hard time recently. And we heard many brothers, many sisters reaction to the fact that we started encouraging the Muslims to pray home and not come to the masjid, and suspend the Friday Jumu'ah prayers in our masajid. It was quite saddening, quite heartbreaking for them, and that's certainly understandable. Inshallah, I want to start with the positive side, and inshallah, it's positive sign in the sense that this reaction indicates that there are too many people, inshallah, in the category that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ mentioned them there. قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقٌ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ. When Prophet ﷺ mentioned those 7 kinds of people, they will be shaded under the shade of Allah when there is no shade but His. He mentioned that kind of people, رَجُلٌ قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقٌ بِالْمَسَاجِدِ. So I ask Allah to make us all with all those people who reacted that way among in that category, bi'idhnillah. And I want to certainly say it's quite understandable, because wallahi, I understand from myself, if 24 hours passes without being in the masjid, I feel myself being different. There is something different in my schedule. How if people that are used to do this daily prayer 5 times a day in the masjid, and it never happened in their lifetime that to see that the Jumu'ah is suspended. But subhanAllah, we had to take those measures in terms of how to, as a defense mechanism against this virus, against this outbreak, against this pandemic disease. Because social distancing is what we can only do at this point, really, from medical perspective. There is no vaccine, there is no medication for this virus or this disease when it happens. And what's unique about this virus, many people think it's a fatal disease or fatal virus. It's not really fatal virus. The percentage for mortality for death is about 2 to 3% on average. It's less in younger, healthier people, and can go up to 15% in older people with other disorders. But what's unique about this virus, its incubation and the way it spreads, meaning it can be in your body for a few days before you start to have any symptoms, and consequently in those few days you can spread the virus to tens and hundreds of people around you without even knowing that you have any disease. And another issue, many people may not develop any symptoms. They just carry the virus and they spread it to others, and they may not develop any symptoms. Many people will have very small and mild symptoms, even milder than the flu that we know very, very commonly we get every now and then. So that's the problem. And two, if the spread becomes at one time or at short time, then too many people will get sick, will have the symptoms at one time. And a small percentage of those people, many of them will do good, but small percentage, they will be extremely sick and they will need to be admitted to the hospital for ICU bed, intensive care unit, for ventilation support. And the problem, if too many people, even though it's small percentage, but when too many people get sick at the same time together, even a small percentage of that huge number, then will be overwhelming the medical system. We have just few hospitals in the area with just a limited number of ICU beds and ventilators. If at one time too many people need that medical support and don't find it, because simply we have limit at the end of the day to what we can provide from medical perspective, then unfortunately those people can die when they could have survived if they had received the needed medical support. And this is what we see today. So if you are watching the news today in Italy, close to 400 people died. And Italy is one of the most advanced countries when it comes to medical care. But what happened, they did not make and do the protective measures early enough. They just started 2 weeks ago or so. That's why they were very late in the game. And that's why now their hospitals are completely occupied and many people are dying simply because they are not finding a bed, they are not finding a ventilator or medical support. So that's why we started doing those actions to, inshallah, protect our beloved ancestors, our Muslim community first, and the whole community at large in the capital district, and all, of course, is by the hand of Allah at the end, but we do what we can do. هذا والله أعلم.
جزاك الله خير أخي Dr. Hassan for this advice. And again, brothers and sisters, if you have questions, inshallah, type it, and then inshallah, after every sheikh and speaker gives his talk, inshallah, we'll be giving your questions to the right person. If you want, you can specify the questions directed to whom? To Dr. Hassan, to Imam Ja'far, or Imam Yati, inshallah ta'ala. Now, تفضل Sheikh Ja'far.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاك الله خير Dr. Hassan, and جزاك الله خير Sheikh Yasin for organizing this program and for benefiting us with all this information. Indeed, this is a time where the entire community, not only the Muslim community, but actually the Muslim community and beyond in the capital district need this kind of information. But I believe there are a few points that I would like to address, particularly to our Muslim community and to whoever is listening. Number one, I would like to tell the Muslim community, thank you very much for responding positively to the instructions that were given Thursday night. For actually, it was a short notice. It was just a few hours before Friday prayer, before Jumu'ah prayer. And yet, we have seen that most of the people actually abided by the instructions and did not come for Friday prayer. And also for the 5 daily prayers, the number have been, reduced, a great deal. As sad as it is, as Dr. Hassan has said, and we received many phone calls from you telling us how sad you are for the fact that you could not come to Jumu'ah prayer. I'm sure probably all of you who have missed this Jumu'ah prayer, this is the first time that you were told you cannot come to Jumu'ah prayer, and you felt bad for not being able to be in the masjid. It is a moment for getting energy once a week and getting the message, getting the directions of how we should be in our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in our relationship with each other, in our relationship with the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But yet, look to the positive side of this. As Dr. Hassan has said, this is a sign for those who felt sad that actually they truly love the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They truly love to please and to worship and to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think this is a good note. This is a good sign. So thank you for responding positively. And thank you for trusting your leadership, your community for the decision. And believe me, it was not an easy decision. It was a tough decision. For actually, we feel exactly the way you feel, and we feel the obligation that we have to make such a decision. But the masajid, the mosques throughout the world, but also here in the United States, many of them, maybe all of them actually came to this kind of decision. The Jumu'ah prayer has to be suspended or has to be limited, and for al-maslahatul amma, for that which is the public benefit, for the benefit of all. And this is the spirit of our faith, our deen, al-Islam, as Sheikh Yasin said. This is exactly the spirit. The spirit, this deen, al-Islam, is a practical religion, is a religion that actually, put the benefit of the public first before the personal benefit, or before the personal opinion, or before any inclination. And having said that, I would like to emphasize in thanking you for responding positively and for trusting your leadership for making such a decision. The second point I would like to make also is this is a test. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us with good things and bad things. وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالْخَيْرِ وَالشَّرِّ فِتْنَةً, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. We test you with good and with evil. So when bad things happen around us or to us, it is a test. And the response to that test, number one, is by being patient, by avoiding being in a state of panic, because being in a state of panic will actually make things worse, will create a lot of confusion, will bring a lot of distress and anxiety and other kind of feeling, sadness to the person and to the family and to those who are vulnerable, and definitely would like to avoid that. How to avoid that? One way to avoid that, and the most important one, is trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do what you have to do, follow proper instructions, use the asbab, all the means to avoid this problem, to avoid the problem of harming yourself, putting yourself in the way of harm, and being a contributor to harm others. So follow proper instructions, do what it is needed to be done. But before that and after that and during that, we have to remember that nothing is to be achieved, nothing is to move, nothing that it can bring fruit without the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, my message to all of us and to all of you is trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be always in a state of relying on Him, and make a lot of dua. Make a lot of dua. Make a lot of tadarru'. That means yearning and praying and begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness, begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove this calamity, this plague, this pandemic on all of us, human beings and creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for He is definitely able to do that. And thank you very much.
جزاك الله خير شيخ جعفر, بارك الله فيك. شيخ فاطمة تفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه ومن والاه. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As always, I begin with the attitude of gratitude. First, thanking Allah, the Almighty, for His blessings that are innumerable, and also appreciating the leadership of this community that came together to actually do the work of leadership. I really, really thank you all for that, especially my humble younger brother who actually initiated and helped organize such a beautiful gathering. And also, as Sheikh Jafar mentioned, we would like to thank you, the larger community, for actually respecting your leadership. And it is not an easy decision that we have to make, but it's to protect lives. That is the goal. And Quranically, Allah had mentioned, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا, that you should not cause harm, you should not kill, you should not take your own lives, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is oft merciful. And as earlier, our humble Imam, the verses he read, actually it was not planned that he's going to read those verses, but clearly, لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. Allah will not overburden us. So everything is by the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again, he read at the end, as part of our faith, rahmah, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And actually, one of the foundations of Islam is indeed the concept of mercy. Because وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, we have not sent you, O Muhammad, except as a message to humanity. So, based on what we have had, the challenges that we go through, as mentioned earlier, that it is a trial. But then, what can we do? This is not an alone individual responsibility. but our collectivity, collective effort. What can we do to protect lives? Of course, living in the most advanced country, America, we know is the most powerful nation. America is blessed with a whole lot of resources. But let's listen to our political leadership. What are they saying? Today, Dr. Hassan had mentioned no vaccine, no medication, except precautionary measures that is given to us by our leadership. What can we do to protect lives? Now, just be in our shoes as imams. Suppose one person, sort of contract these, serious disease, comes to the community. Now we know how open our community is. We don't ask people whether they belong to our community, whether they are registered members of the community or not. Now look what happens when one person comes to our community with this virus or with this disease. What happens then? Now, definitely, we have heard this word quarantine. Now, what happens next? How many people would be quarantined? So, based on this, our leadership decided that it would be better to actually, right now, pause until we know what is coming next. Well, perhaps some of us would ask, had such a thing happened before in our Islamic sort of community, past or present, because ours is based on Quran and the Sunnah and the understanding of our predecessors? Well, yes, because we have read, our imams have mentioned, remember when Umar radiallahu anhu was actually visiting Syria, and very close to Syria, his commander there, Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah, came and told Umar that there is a contagious disease in Sham, and therefore the leader must know. What happened? Umar alayhi salatu wasalam consulted the leadership and finally concluded that it is better to return back. It is better to go back to Medina. But listen to what Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah said. He said, "Afirarun min qadarillah." Are we running away from the decree of Allah? If Allah decreed that we will die, then let's go. And Umar turned to Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah and smiled. He said, "لو غيرك قالها." It would have been better for someone else, not one of the great companions like you, to say such a thing. نعم نفر من قدر الله إلى قدر الله. Truly, we are living, we are running away from the decree of Allah to the decree of Allah. Based on this, Umar took everybody actually back. And then later, Abdurrahman bin Auf heard the story, and he said, I heard the Prophet ﷺ mention one time that whenever there is such a contagious disease in any part, it is advised that those in must not leave and those out must not come in. Therefore, based on this, brothers and sisters in Islam, as imams, surely we are here using the methodology not only of Umar, but a statement which his teacher, the Prophet ﷺ, said, we have to do whatever we can to protect life. And finally, the basic principle, one of the great basic principles of Islamic law is ad-dararu yuzal. Harm must be eliminated. Whenever there is harm, we must do whatever we can to eliminate it. And also we have to understand daf'ul madar awla min jalb al masalih. To prevent harm is better than bringing good. So our community, we have taken these decisions, making sure that we protect our community and protect lives based on what our leadership had advised us. So please, we know it is very difficult. It is not easy. Continue to give us your trust, and surely we will do whatever we can to speed and making sure that we do it together, pray, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for us. May Allah continue to bless us all. May Allah continue to protect us.
Jazakumullah khair. Sheikh Abdul Rahman, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you and reward you all our dear shuyukh and Dr. Al Hassan. So we have a number of questions, brothers, and they are still asking questions. So the first question is to Brother Abu Umar Hassan, Dr. Hassan, is about some people are saying if there is no cure nor medication for such a virus, should we just quarantine ourselves and just let it pass and like any normal flu, just we stay home and
quarantine ourselves, meaning we stay home and do nothing besides just staying home.
Yeah.
We could certainly do this, but the problem is that life has to continue, and people they have to earn money, they have rent to pay, they have kids to feed, so forth and so on. So they have to do this. Now they have to go to work. And really what's critical here is the mass gathering. That when people get close to each other in large numbers, because this potentially can spread the virus from 1 to tens or more than 100. Then those tens or 100 or more, they will spread it to hundreds and thousands. But if you are at work, if you go to work and you are in a desk where you are 6 feet away from others, or you work on a taxi and you get only one driver or two, and you can wear a mask. For example, if you are worried that you may get some people in the taxi, or you work in a hotel, make sure you are not in close contact, especially with sick people. The virus will not spread that easy. It will take to be in close contact with a person who carries the virus. You have to be in close contact, meaning less than 2 meters or 6 feet for 15 minutes or longer to get the virus and get the disease. So because of that, and because life has to continue, people have to work. They cannot just simply stay home and they expect they are going to be paid by their employers. And because if God prohibits, if they got sick, they will get sick only. One person will get sick, 2 people will get sick, few people will get sick. So it's not as bad as getting hundreds of people sick at a time, which is what we are trying to prevent. In reality, honestly speaking, this virus will continue to spread no matter what we do. What we are doing here is just to reduce the number of the people who will get sick at the same time.
Jazakallah khair. This question is not necessarily for a particular speaker, but I will ask Sheikh Jafar and Sheikh Abdul Rahman if has anything. They are asking if that will continue until Ramadan. So what is the plan for Salat Taraweeh and Ramadan's activities, Sheikh Jafar?
Well, let me just say something that Sheikh Jafar would sort of summarize. Surely, quickly, just like what Dr. Hassan had mentioned, social distancing. I had a new term. It's not social isolation. Social distancing is we have to be cautious, we have to be very careful with large gathering, but we should not isolate ourselves. Life must continue. Ours is to be a little bit careful with where and what we do. Now, suppose this didn't continue, what are we going to do?
For Taraweeh.
Well, Sheikh Yasin, I would say this. Inshallah, Allah will bring us a solution. We did not get there yet.
Ya Rab, Ya Rab,
What
Ya Rab.
what I believe is that Allah has blessed us, the United States, the most powerful nation on earth. We are not used to such isolationism. So I believe that Allah will bring us a solution. Even today, we know very well, I was supposed to be, in Umrah right now, but I did not get to go. So do you think, Hajj is going to be cancelled? No. Inshallah, solution. Let's do it together. Solution will come.
Ya
Inshallah.
Rab, Ya Rab, Ya Rab.
But suppose Allah try us with Ramadan, inshallah, we as your leaders, you trust us, we will surely bring a solution to you.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Jafar, you want to add anything?
Yeah, actually, a couple points. Point number one, which has been alluded to by Sheikh Abdul Rahman, is have a positive attitude rather than having a negative attitude and start looking what if this will happen, what if this doesn't stop. Let's have a positive attitude where inshallah you believe that the solution will come, you believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us a cure, or will reduce this, or will eliminate this completely. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala qadirun ala kulli shay. So have a positive attitude. I will tell you, my brothers and sisters, what will be the result of that positive attitude besides whether that's going to happen or not happen. That positive attitude is going to help you and me in our own psyche, in our own relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we expect that everything that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, there will be something good in it. So that positive attitude will help me be relaxed, be at peace, not to be in an anxiety, start thinking about things that the worst case scenario. Try your best to be, inshallah, in a positive attitude. So number two, let's assume that may be the case. Subhanallah, these things as they are happening are teaching us so many things. How many of you have ever thought that Jumu'ah will be cancelled? How many of you have ever thought that masajid will be closed? And this is in many countries of the world, in many countries. So this is nazila, as it is called in our books of fiqh. That is something that doesn't happen often, and it has no precedent. So therefore, if that were to happen in Ramadan, inshallah it will not happen. But if that were to happen in Ramadan, I'm sure this leadership of the masajid will get together and find the proper solution. But just think of something. Taraweeh is sunnah or fard? Taraweeh is sunnah. Salatul Jumu'ah is fard. So if we were to have to cancel Salatul Jumu'ah, which is must, which is fard, and because of the circumstances that dictated that has to be done, then I'm assuming Salatul Taraweeh is sunnah. But hopefully we don't have to get to that. Hopefully there will be a solution before we get to that. But I know the spirit of Ramadan is very dear to all of us Muslims, alhamdulillah. That's why Sheikh Hussam is here, alhamdulillah. He came, inshallah ta'ala, way before Ramadan, to get himself ready, inshallah ta'ala, and hopefully we'll benefit from listening to him and to many of our imams who are going to lead us. And believe me, in these times of difficulty, inshallah, dua will be even more answered. So please make a lot of dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah will lift this plague and this calamity. Bi-idhnillah ta'ala.
Jazakallah khair. I hope inshallah we can get Ramadan inshallah and we pray Taraweeh.
Bi-idhnillah.
So this is a good question, and actually it's for all of you, and also through you to the boards of these masajid. Somebody is asking, are there any outreach plans for reaching to elderlies, families who are in need, refugees, or families who have limited care support. What is the plan with this panic and people staying home? So what is the plans of the masajid for these families in the community?
So in our Masjid al-Salam, we have been trying to educate the people as far as the symptoms of the disease, to be aware if they potentially have the disease. Number two, what to do if they got the symptoms, quarantine themselves versus call their family doctor versus go to urgent care or emergency room. And particularly in the refugees communities where there is language barrier, we are trying to reach out to them with their language to make sure they understand, because this is new. This is something can certainly cause anxiety for a person who is an American, and then we see the Americans are panicking. So how about people who are new, they have recently arrived, they have language barriers, so forth and so on. So I myself, for example, with the Syrian refugees, I've been trying my best, and with other groups, there are other brothers just trying to do that part.
Yeah, I think also our masajid, Masjid Hidayah and Masjid ICCD, I think we need to think of what we need to do regarding this matter as well. Do you have anything, Sheikh, to add?
Yeah, actually, we communicated with the members of the board for example, of Masjid Hidayah, and I'm sure the same thing is being done in ICCD as well, where where we can come up with some sort of a task force where people will be able to be available for people to communicate with them, get some guidelines, and get some instructions of where to go, what to do. I think that's important. But at the same time, for our brothers and sisters over there, is don't close yourselves in boxes. Reach out, communicate with your friends and relatives. Don't just be in that state of panic where you are so much afraid and you don't want to see anybody, you don't want to communicate with anybody. Being in touch is very important. It's good for you, for the person, so not to be in that state of panic and anxiety, but it's good for other people that you are going to be in touch with them, so they will feel, inshallah ta'ala, that that people are aware of them and people are asking about them, and that will make them feel better. It's as simple as you could communicate with someone who is maybe alone at home, maybe elderly, maybe sick, and all what you could do is probably bring some groceries for them. This is something the least, but I'm sure maybe we can do better than that. As I told you, this is a calamity, but it brings opportunity. To unite as we are united, around making a decision. It will also bring the opportunity to organize and reorganize our efforts. So hopefully, inshallah, we'll do our job much better.
Inshallah, also to add to what has been said, that let's not forget, social distancing is not social isolation. Let's not isolate ourselves. We have to communicate. When symptoms are obvious in your situation, it would be better to call your doctor, because there, as imams, ours is to do whatever we can to help. But at the same time, whenever there is issues of health, it is better to call your doctors, and we ought to be informed. So in case we have to visit, then definitely we will take, precautionary measures in order to, help and protect one another. Inshallah.
I have to say this actually because I think it's some sort of anecdote that helps that mindset of being of having a positive attitude. The other day, it was Friday afternoon, and after doing some visits, and I passed by the shopping, trying to get some groceries, and as you can imagine, everybody is buying everything. So people were running and rushing, and it's like you need a police for to organize the traffic. And guess what happened? Something that I think all of us can benefit from. As I was pushing my cart and going through, and many people were before me, some people going left, some people going right. And there was this man who is a middle-aged man standing with his cart and waiting for people to go and giving them the right of the way, just please go. And then my turn came and I was waiting for him to go because he has been waiting for a while. Then he told me, please, you can go. I said, you are very patient. And look what he said. He said, the coronavirus will not interrupt my manners.
SubhanAllah.
Yes. It was a beautiful statement that actually for me, it said it all. Yes, we are struggling with the virus. We're doing what we have to do, but coronavirus actually should bring the best out of us, not the worst out of us. And that's why all these advices, being in touch, being helpful, try to find out about your neighbors, how things are, all that is beautiful. Coronavirus must not interrupt our character and our beautiful manners. And that is not my statement. That's the statement of that gentleman. I wish he's listening to us by now.
And if I may add, Sheikh Yassine, Governor Cuomo stated yesterday clearly that COVID-19 or coronavirus testing will be free for any person meets the criteria for testing. Doesn't matter if those people have insurance or have no medical insurance, they can get the screening test for free. So that shouldn't be an obstacle for people who have no medical insurance to seek medical care if they need to.
This is a question for you as well, Dr. Hassan. Somebody is asking if any of our brothers and sisters from our community is being confirmed with this virus. Should they notify the community?
The community will get to know regardless, because the epidemiology in the hospital, they will ask them all the questions, who they were in contact with, and then consequently, I assume that you have to be truthful, and you have to, not because you are Muslim, and we have to be honest just because simply you are Muslims, we have to be honest to help the medical authorities to identify those people who were in contact with that person who tested positive. All of those people, they will take their precautions and quarantine themselves. And by the way, along the same lines, President Trump also made a rule or policy 2 days ago that any person who tested positive and they have to be under quarantine because of this, they will have paid leave, especially if they got the virus from their work environment. If it's from the community, it depends on the employers. It can be paid or non-paid leave. So that's another useful information.
Also here, it is necessary that we have to fight these virus together. Suppose somebody is diagnosed with the virus. We should not panic. We should not run away from them. They are part of our community. Yes, they ought to be quarantined. And then they ought to be very honest if they have come to the masjid and other places, so that the larger community will be protected. But we should do whatever we can. Any one of us diagnosed with coronavirus, we should do it to actually together, fight it together. This is not something that is going to be there permanently. It is something that we would face it and it would come to pass. So we ought to, if somebody in our community is affected, let's do it together, inshallah.
Many people are asking this question, which is very interesting. They said, can we have a remote khutbah? like this, which the imams, this is the question for the imams. You do the khutbah and from home we follow you and we pray behind you. And many people also are asking about Taraweeh. Can we do the same thing about with regards to Taraweeh? And this question is coming from many people.
Actually, I would like you to answer that question, Sheikh Yassin. Sheikh Yassin is an imam also in Masjid al-Hidayah, and Sheikh Yassin is also trained in Islamic studies. I am sure he has the answer.
Well, with regards to these questions, subhanAllah, many people are asking this question. So one of the conditions of Salat al-Jama'ah to be valid is the lines to be continuous and uninterrupted lines. So meaning Salat behind the TV or live stream, definitely it's not valid Salat. This is ijma' among scholars, consensus among our scholars. The only exception, if, for example, some people asked me yesterday this question, they said we go to the Haram and we are from our hotels and following the Imam al-Haram. The case there, because the lines are continued until the hotel. In this case, the situation is different. But now praying behind the Imam or doing the khutbah and you follow the khutbah and the salat from home or behind the TV, definitely this is not valid, and this is not an option. And you have a relief from our imams that this is not something that you need to be worried about. However, and subhanAllah, it seems like people attachment to the masjid is very, very strong. We need to take advantage of that feeling and have ibadah home. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Ju'ilat liya al-ardu masjidan wa tahura." One of the uniqueness that was given and gifts that was given to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is that the entire earth is a mosque for us, for Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his ummah. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Ju'ilat liya al-ardu," the entire earth was made for me as a mosque, as a masjid. So brothers and sisters, yes, we cannot come to the masjid, it's painful. But that doesn't mean we cannot pray anymore. Doesn't mean we cannot make dhikr anymore. Doesn't mean we cannot read Quran anymore. Doesn't mean we cannot pray Taraweeh anymore. That things can be done home. And this is an opportunity for us to develop this spiritual environment in our homes and houses. With your kids, with your wives, get together, have dhikr, have salat jama'ah together, have Taraweeh. If la qaddar Allah, God forbids, from now until Ramadan, we cannot pray Taraweeh at the masjid. Have this spiritual environment in your home, in your house, with your kids, with your family members. Don't get together as friends, and because this large gathering is not recommended. But these limited numbers of family members, you can pray together, and this is an opportunity for us to develop these relationships with our kids, with our family members. So spend time with your family members, quality time with ibadah, with dhikr, with learning, with qira'at Quran, and so on and so forth. Any what do you want to add anything, Sheikh? Another question they are asking here, Sheikh Abdul Rahman, what is the specific dua, or is there any specific dua we should say this time and during this?
We have tons of du'as. However, one that I do read a lot, and I encourage some of my students to read, is أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. That I seek refuge with the perfect names of Allah from that which He had created. Coronavirus is part of the creation of Allah. So pray and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us now and tomorrow. So we have a lot of du'as, but this is the one that I actually would always read. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. As translated, I seek refuge with the perfect names of Allah from that which He had created. But there are a whole lot of du'as.
Want to add anything, Sheikh?
Yeah, I think there are many. One of them is Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyah wal-mu'afat al-da'ima fi dunya wal-akhirah. Ya Allah, I ask you forgiveness and I ask you safety and health in dunya and in akhirah, in this life as well as in the next life.
Also, if you go to Facebook page, our Facebook page, Hidayah Center, we posted some ad'iyah a few days ago. Go to Facebook page and you will see, inshallah, some of these du'as and adhkar, inshallah ta'ala. Somebody is asking, are daily prayers still conducted at the Hidayah Center? Well, as we announced Thursday night, that we don't encourage people to come to the masjid at all. Number one, Jumu'ah should be is suspended, and but for the daily salawat, masjid is open, but we don't want people to come. We want really the imam and 2 or 3 people who are there, so that the sha'ira of salat will be continued, does not shut the masjid down, but we don't want people to come. So please, brothers and sisters, stay home. And I know that you have great shawq and to come to the masjid, to see the masjid, to pray in the jama'ah. But as our scholar said, there are, in Sharia, there are priorities. Hifdh al-nafs, protecting the lives and the nufus, is more important than praying in jama'ah. So please don't come to the masjid. If you were to come under any circumstances, please bring your hasira rugs with you, but don't come, please. So somebody is asking, same thing, he's asking if we can do Taraweeh in the way that we discussed, and we answered this question. Somebody is asking, they said in these times we are recommended not to shake hands, and some people, out of forgetfulness or they don't care, they shake our hands. He's asking if it is haram for me to reject and not follow. Is it haram? Is there anything haram for me to reject and not shake my brother's hand? What do you think, Sheikh Abdul?
Well, it is sunnah, al-musafaha, but at the same time, this is a very difficult time. We are not used, even Sheikh Jafar and I, it is very difficult for Sheikh Jafar to stretch his hands and I will say no. But now we remind each other by doing this, and then perhaps maybe do that. It is something that we have to learn to appreciate one another. If the other person forgot, ours is to remind them. If actually I am reminded that, look, this is not a good time to shake hands, we should respect one another. But here, actually, the way we speak, the way we remind one another is as important as shaking of the hand. When it comes with respect, as Islam dictates, that is indeed something that we would appreciate. Respect, reminding one another.
So there are many brothers and sisters are offering their service, offering their help, whether the language. Some people say we speak Pashto, we speak Urdu, we speak this, we speak that. If you need us, we are here. Some people are also suggesting few beautiful ideas. So inshallah, brothers and sisters will take that into consideration. This question for brother Abu Umar, they said if a brother or sister is sick with positive, tested positive, can we visit them?
If they are tested positive, no, we should not, because simply the hospital will not allow us to. It's that we can leave it as simple as that.
How about if they are home? They have a some people are saying some of our brothers, they have some symptoms, but we don't know if it is that or not.
So here they are not tested positive then.
Yes.
They potentially have it.
Yes.
Then it's better. And this time, normally, of course, we know that visiting the sick person is one of the sunan, and we get rewarded, inshallah, for it. But probably during this time, if we know a person who has symptoms and we don't know if those symptoms are due to the novel coronavirus or just a regular flu, it's better to be on the safe side and not do it physically. That's being said, that does not mean at all that we cannot check on that brother or that sister through the phone, through the WhatsApp, through the email. There are many ways of, inshallah, checking on them.
But we avoid and also this is a question for you, Dr. Hassan. They said if somebody has symptoms, what should we do?
So number one, if you have symptoms, please, that's a big reason not to come to the masjid. That's red flag, because if you come to masjid and there are other brothers and sisters there, then you may give the disease to them. Number two, it depends on the severity of the symptoms. If it's mild symptoms, you can just quarantine yourself for a day or two until those symptoms are gone. And then, inshallah, that's the end of the story. And that's what if you call your doctor, that what they will tell you. If they say, if they figure that the symptoms are mild, just take Tylenol for it, increase your fluids. And if you notice that your symptoms are getting worse, the fever is getting higher and higher, then at that time you have to seek testing for possibly the coronavirus. Now, if you want to go to a hospital, any hospital to be checked, please do not pop up suddenly, show up telling them that I'm having fevers and cough and I need to be tested, because you are potentially exposing the nurses, the staff, the doctors for the virus. So there are actually now at Albany Med, for example, there is special tent outside the hospital. It's meant only to screen the people who potentially have that disease. And when you will go there, they will be prepared. They are all wearing the gowns and the gloves and the masks, so they will not potentially get the virus from you. And then they can screen you and decide if your symptoms are bad enough to be admitted to the hospital, or just simply send back home and quarantine yourself.
Also, what I would advise, usually I visit hospitals and homes on Friday, but I've been told that this is not a good time for that. So as mentioned by Dr. Hassan, if you have symptoms, we as imams would call you. Have somebody inform us. We would call you on the phone. This is to protect the larger community. You don't want your imam. Yes, we will all one day come to pass. But I've mentioned Islamically, we have to protect ourselves. So as imams, these days, we would call you. We would actually, if it is grievance, we would grieve with you on the phone. But do not expect that every issue would be at home. But again, social distancing is not social isolation. We'll do whatever we can, calling you and making sure that we all are good.
This question also for Dr. Hassan. They said, if you please explain the methods of testing and when and where to test in Albany and the surrounding areas.
So pretty much every hospital now, they have a specific place and a number of kits they can use to screen people. As I said, at Albany Med, they have now a tent outside the hospital where one of the parking lots, they made it just specifically to test those people who potentially have the disease. How they do the test, they take swab basically from the nose, the throat, and they send it out. And usually we have now, after the New York State declared the emergency, and we have more available kits to test. So there is a center who results in Albany area, and then normally we get the results within 24 hours. We get them back.
Jazakallah khair. Somebody is asking, this is a fiqh question, if we can use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Sanitizers. So can we use it or no? And also, this is a fiqh question. Somebody also is asking another fiqh question. I think we have answered this about shaking hands, but still many people are asking about shaking hands. They're asking the matter, it is halal or haram, which means rejecting hands of people who are giving us their hands. Can we maybe highlight. Brothers, we have just few minutes left, inshallah. Can we shed some light on this?
Yeah.
That second one has been answered. Actually.
Yeah.
So the question of halal and haram, Sheikh,
The question of halal and haram, because let's remember very well, there is probability that too much of shaking of the hands can cause a larger harm. So because of that, we have to adore izal. We have to sort of eliminate that. So here, because since we're talking about fiqh issue, scholars may have disagreement whether it is haram, because the moment you mention the word haram, you need mantuqan, you need clear-cut textual evidence. Right now, what we have is mafhuman, understood from the text. However, if it is makruh, it may lead to haram, because if you have harmed somebody with the shaking of the hand, it becomes indeed haram. And perhaps before Sheikh Jafar, when it comes to alcohol and all that, scholars have disagreement pertaining to any medication, anything which has alcohol. What people have mentioned, what scholars have mentioned is that, is it meant for drinking? If it is not meant for drinking, it is a different type of alcohol, surely will not fall under the category that which Allah said, Hurrimat alaykum, including al-khamr. So here, especially now, we need sanitizers to wash our hands. Those sanitizers, some have been used alcohol. Is it alcohol that is meant to drink? That is where scholars have disagreement, but definitely we need hand sanitizers to make sure that we sanitize our hands.
Yeah, even if it is being decided that this kind of alcohol is the same kind of alcohol that it is made haram, if this becomes a darura, a necessity, then we know the rule is a darura to al-mahdurat. That which is necessity dictates that even that which is forbidden can be used under that kind of category if it becomes a necessity. But there is a solution. The whole issue is whether it is najis or not najis. Whether it's impure or not pure. We are not talking about drinking or consuming. We are talking about touching or wiping our hands with that kind of fluid sanitizer. So the point, even if it is the worst case scenario, that this may be a najasa. Someone, before going to salah, make sure you wash your hands, and you will be in good shape at that time. And as the issue has been said, it's a matter of differences of opinion.
Okay, so I think we have answered many questions. I will promise you, brothers and sisters, inshallah, that we'll be having more of these sessions, inshallah, that we allow community members in the capital district to communicate with their leaders, spiritual leaders, because in these difficult moments, of course, there is need of guidance, there is a need to connect with ulama and scholars, and inshallah, we promise we'll be having more sessions, inshallah, later on. But maybe toward the end of this session, we will tell you, inshallah, don't forget that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala meant to be worshipped everywhere, not only in the masajid. So please, the salat that you used to do in the masjid, the dhikr, qira'at al-Quran, please do it home. And number two, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, in the story of Nuh alayhi salam, He said, فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا يُرْسِلِ السَّمَاءَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِدْرَارًا. Brothers and sisters, you cannot imagine the power of istighfar and the result of the istighfar. So one of the means that we can take at these moments, so hoping that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uplift this musibah and virus, is doing a lot of istighfar. Do a lot of istighfar. You are driving, you are sitting home, you are waiting somewhere, you are walking, whatever you are doing, have your tongue busy with istighfar. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. For An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, مَا نَزَلَ بَلَاءٌ إِلَّا بِذَنْبٍ وَمَا رُفِعَ إِلَّا بِتَوْبَةٍ. That there is no a single bala that overwhelms a nation except with them, with a great ma'asiyah, sin. And this particular them or a sin, or this particular bala, whether it could be a virus, could be earthquake, whatever. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, لا يرفع إلا بتوبة, will be uplifted with the tawbah, repentance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has His own plans. We don't know what is the plans of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All what we can do, brothers and sisters, is begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, tadarru' to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, dua, istighfar, hoping that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will uplift this musibah and virus and protect our family members, our beloved ones, our community, our ummah, and the entire humanity, inshallah ta'ala. So before we conclude, do you want to say anything, Sheikh?
Yeah, I would like to thank our leadership. I would like to thank our community for their patience. Definitely, this is not easy. The decisions that we have taken, because we are responsible in the sight of Allah. And therefore, be in our shoes as leaders. We have to do it together. And it is an opportunity that Allah has brought us all, the leadership together. We thank you very, very much. But also, I would like to also take the opportunity to thank the leadership of our community. They have done a tremendous job. Yesterday, we were at Al-Hidayah with our leadership talking about protecting our ummah. Thank you very much, leadership. And also, I will never forget our governor, the governor of the state of New York, Cuomo. You have done a tremendous, beautiful job. Continue to do good work. We appreciate it. Our Muslim community and the larger community, we appreciate it. May God continue to bless and protect all of us and protect our state and the United States. Thank you.
You want to say anything, Sheikh, before?
I think, there's not much to add except I would like to emphasize, make use of this opportunity to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us to connect our hearts to Him. And by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is an opportunity that all of us can make use of to be closer to Him and to seek His forgiveness and to seek His relief. Ameen. And thank you so much for being in touch and keep in touch. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Omar, you want to say anything?
Well, I want to say briefly, it's expected for some people to have anxiety or degree of depression because of what's going on. So please seek help. Seek help if you feel you are confused, you are frustrated, you need help. Even though the salawat now, the prayers, we are encouraging people to stay home, but the phones, the emails are still there. Seek help if it's spiritual, religious question or confusion. Seek the help from our shuyukh. If it is medical, ask not me or any of the doctors that you know, your doctor. Don't listen to those rumors that I'm hearing. I heard, for example, one person in our community, she used ethanol on her head, on her body, thinking because she heard that this is a protective way to get away from getting that virus. That's not the way to get away from the virus. So don't rely on what you get in your phone and what you necessarily hear. Get a trusted source of information, inshallah. And before and at the end, everything, our tawakkul will be on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the protective. And that's also like Allah khair for the opportunity giving me the chance to be here.
Jazakumullah khair, brothers and sisters. Please make dua, inshallah. Allah will uplift this before Ramadan, inshallah, and we will be in the masjid in Ramadan, inshallah, praying Taraweeh together. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Jazakumullah khair. Adnan, thank you for